How were the people living in the colonies different from one another? Most colonists were descended from British or Irish settlers. Therefore, most people in the colonies spoke English. Some colonists did not come from English-speaking countries, however. Settlers also came from France, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and other countries. All brought with them their own customs and ideas about governments and rights. The colonists also held different religious beliefs. There were many different groups of Protestants. There were also Catholics and Jews. Compared to most European nations of the time, the population of the colonies was diverse. Why were class differences not important in the colonies? The colonies were not divided into a few rich people and a large mass of poor people, as in most of Europe. In the colonies, there was no royalty and no titled nobility. That means there were no dukes, earls, lords, knights. The difference between wealthy and poor people was less important in colonial society. A poor person could become wealthy by using knowledge, skills, and opportunities. In many cases, a man who was not part of the wealthy class could be elected to a government position. Whose opportunities were limited? Not all people shared the same opportunities to gain wealth or become leaders. Usually, only adult white males who owned property could vote. In most colonies, a person had to own 50 acres of land to be qualified to vote, but land was easily available. Therefore, more people in the colonies had the right to vote than in any other country at the time. Native Americans, African Americans, white men without property, and women were typically not allowed to vote or to hold office. Women usually were not allowed to own property. Under the law, married couples were considered one person and the husband controlled the property. What rights did the colonists value? Since most colonists were self-sufficient, they valued their freedom highly. The people in the colonies thought that their society was superior to the corrupt societies of Europe. Colonists considered themselves to be virtuous, hardworking, simple people. As subjects of Great Britain, the colonists enjoyed the rights included in the British Constitution. You will learn about these rights in Lesson 6. Many colonial governments also protected the rights of the colonists. For example, the Massachusetts Body of Liberties of 1641 included the right to trial by jury, free elections, and the right of free men to own property. The state of Pennsylvania guaranteed freedom of belief or conscience. In the years before the American Revolution, the colonists were very sensitive to any attempts by the British government to limit their rights. After the Revolution, Americans were concerned with protecting the rights they had just fought for. Who were the founders? Throughout this text, we refer to a group of people as the founders. The founders were the political leaders of the colonies. They had developed their own ideas about what might be the best kind of government. These ideas were formed from their own experiences and their studies of government of the past. The founders led the fight to free the American colonies from British rule. The founders helped create the state governments, and their ideas influenced the writing of the Constitution. Some of the founders' names you might recognize include John and Abigail Adams, ancestors of Miss Bisbee, Benjamin Franklin, Patrick Henry, Thomas Jefferson, Mercy Otis Warren, and George Washington.